4.1c is a decimal operations review. So we're going to review how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. All right, so let's just skip to example 1. We want to multiply 0.3 times 1.7. Remember, when we're multiplying, we ignore the decimals to start off with. We just line up, line up from left to right our numbers. So we actually want to take 17 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we have 51, and now we can think about our decimal places. We had 1 to the right here, 1 here, that's 2 altogether. So we want 2 numbers to the right of our decimal place, which means that 0.3 times 1.7 is 0.51. All right, let's try another one. 1.25 times 4. Well, again, we're going to ignore our decimal places to start off with. We just want to take 125 and multiply it by 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we have 500 exactly. Okay, well, notice that 4 doesn't have anything after the decimal point, but we've got 2 decimal places here. So we want to put our decimal point right here between 5 and 0. So 5.00 is just the same as 5, which means that 1.25 times 4 is equal to 5. Example 2. So we want to review where 0.78 can be found on the number line. So we need to think about those benchmark fractions we talked about. So our number line's labeled, it's split into fourths. So remember, we compare this to $1, right? So if this was $1, if we had 1 quarter, that would be 25 cents. If we had 2 quarters or half, that would be 50 cents. And if we had 3 quarters, that's 75 cents. So if we want to put 1.78 on our number line, that's going to be pretty close to 0.75 because they both have 7 in the tens place. So it's going to be just to the right, just a little bigger than 0.75. Convert the fractions to decimal numbers or decimals to fractions. A calculator may be used if necessary. All right, so number 1, we want to take this fraction and make it a decimal. So thinking back, remember that means we have to divide. We're going to take 3 and divide it by 5. Okay, so I'm going to add my decimal place here. So 5 doesn't go into 3, but 5 does go into 30 6 times. It actually goes in there perfectly. So we see that 3/5 is the same as 0.6. Let's do 4 next. We want to take 5/6 and turn it into a decimal. Well, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take 5 and divide it by 6. So again, I'm going to add my decimal points in here. 6 does not go into 5, but 6 does go into 50. 6 times 8 would be 48. So then 50 minus 48 is 2. So we have a remainder, which means we have to keep going. So I'm going to add a 0 to bring it down. So now I want to know how many times does 6 go into 20. Well, 6 goes into 20 3 times. That would be 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Add a 0, bring it down. 6 goes into 20 3 times. That'd be 18. Notice how it's starting to form a pattern. If we keep going, we're just going to keep getting the same thing over and over and over again. So 5/6 is 0.83 repeating. But only the 3 is repeating. So we're just going to put the line over the 3, not over the 8. So if you want to take a fraction and turn it into a decimal, you divide. Now, for these next ones, we have a decimal, and we want to turn it into a fraction, okay? So we need to think about our place values. So 0.10, this is the 10th place. This is the 100th place. So this is 10 hundredths. So we can put 10 over 100, and now we can simplify. 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100. So this simplifies out, and we're just left with 1/10. Let's try that again with 0.75. Well, again, this is our 10th place and our 100th place, so we have 75 hundredths. Now we can simplify. Well, let's see, 5 goes into 75 and 100, but 25 does, right? 25 times 3 is 75. 25 times 4 is 100. So 25 simplifies out, so 0.75 is the same as 3/4. And maybe you recognize those ones in your head, so if you just knew that 0.75 was 3/4, you wouldn't have to write your fraction and simplify. But if you aren't sure off the top of your head, then you write it as a fraction over your tenths or hundredths or thousandths or whatever it is, and then simplify completely. Okay, example 2. When we divide decimals, we want the divisor to be a whole number. All right, so if we wanted to take 1.64 and divide it by 0.2, we have to move our decimal place over one spot. And remember, everything I do to the divisor, I need to do to the dividend, right? It has to match to stay equivalent. So really, we're taking 16.4 and dividing it by 2. And I'm going to carry my decimal place up right away, right? So they're all lined up. So now, 2 doesn't go into 1, but 2 does go into 16 8 times. 2 times 8 is exactly 16. So that would be 0, and now we can bring down our 4. 2 goes into 4 twice, and again it goes in there exactly, so we don't have a remainder. So we see that 1.64 divided by 0.2 is 8.2. Let's try another one. 1.65 divided by 0.3. Well, same thing, we can move our decimal place over one spot. So really we're taking 16.5 and dividing it by 3. Bring my decimal place up so I don't lose track of it. 3 does not go into 1, but 3 goes into 16 5 times. So that would give us 15. 16 minus 15 is 1. Bring down our 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. That goes in perfectly, so we don't have a remainder anymore, which means we're done. So we see that 1.65 divided by 0.3 is 5.5. And that's how we divide. All right, we just have a couple more examples here. So you went to Holiday and you bought gas for $44.68. And then you went inside to pay, and you also got juice, cake, cookies, and a sandwich. You were hungry. So we want to figure out two things here. We want to figure out how much change we should get back. So in order to do that, we need to figure out how much we spent. So if we want to figure out how much we spent, we just have to add everything up. So first they want us to estimate how much we should get back. Okay, well, juice for $1.24, that's about $1. Cake for $1.63, that's about $2. Cookies for $1.07, that's about $1. A sandwich for $4.10, that's about $4. Gas for $44.68, that's about $45. So if we add that all up, we'd have 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 4 is 8, plus 5 is 13. And then carry the 1, 1 plus 4 is 5. So our approximate cost is roughly $53. Well, 60 minus 53 means we should get about $7 and change back. So that's our estimate. That's not our exact, but that's our estimate is $7. So now let's figure this out exactly. So we need to take all of this and add it up. So 1.24, 1.63, 1.07, 4.10, 44.68. All right. So let's see, 3 plus 7 is 10, 4 plus 8 is 12, 12 plus 10 is 22, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6 is 10, plus 7 would be 17, carry the 1. That'd be 4 ones, plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Bring down our decimal place, and then 1 plus 4 is 5. So our total cost of everything was about $52.72. So our last step to figure out the exact change would be to take $60 and subtract our $52.72. So we're going to need to borrow. So our 6 will become a 5, this will become a 9, this will become a 9, this will become a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 7 is 2, 9 minus 2 is 7, 5 minus 5 is 0. So we see our exact change is $7.28, which is very close to our estimate, right? Just 28 cents off, just over a quarter. A quarter and 3 pennies is how far away our estimate was. Let's do a couple more practice problems. We won't do all of these. You can try a couple on your own, but we'll do 2 more. I need to paint the walls in the kitchen and living room. Each wall will take about 1.3 gallons of paint. If there are 8 walls, how many gallons of paint should I buy? Okay, well, there are 8 walls, and we need 1.3 gallons for each wall. So we want to take 8 and multiply it by 1.3. So let's forget about our decimal for now. Really, we just need to take 13 times 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And then we've got 1 decimal place, so it would take 10.4 gallons of paint. Okay, next one. If paint costs $35.99 a gallon, how much will it cost to paint my kitchen and my living room? How much will it cost? Oh, so now we know the price of each gallon, and we said we needed 10.4 gallons of paint. So if we want to figure out the cost of all of that paint, we're going to take the price of the paint, the price of each gallon, and multiply it by how many gallons we need. So we're going to forget about our decimals to start off with here. Alright, and now we're going to multiply. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 3 is 39. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So that was our ones place. So now we need a 0, and now we can go to our tens place. Well, 0 multiplied all of this is just going to stay 0. So that was our tens place. Now we go to our hundreds place. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. And now we can add all of this together. It's getting a little smushed, so let me make this just a little bit smaller. I'm going to move it up. Okay, now we should be good. So we add 6 plus 0 is 6. 9 plus 0 plus 0 is 9. 3 plus 0 plus 9 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 plus 1 plus 9 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. Bring down the 3. And now we figure out how many decimal places we have. 1 here, 2 here. So we want 3 numbers to the right of our decimal. But since we're talking about the cost of paint, we talk about money with 2 decimal places. So we could round this to $374.30 would be the cost of paint for if we wanted to paint our living room and our kitchen. Okay, let's just set up the rest of these, and then you can complete the operations yourselves. If you spent $1,125 on carpet, and carpet cost $2.25 per square foot, how many square feet of carpet did you buy? All right, well, you have the total cost for your whole house and the individual cost for each square foot. So if you wanted to figure out how much each particular square foot was, you would need to take the total amount of money you spent and divide it by the cost for each square, and that's going to tell you how many squares you got. If Jenny had $30, she bought a board game for $14.50 and a book for $8.75. how much money does she have left? Okay, well, if we want to figure out how much she has left, we have to start by figuring out how much she spent. So we actually want to take $14.50 plus $8.75. That would be, bring down our decimal, $23.25. So to figure out how much change she has, we're going to take 30 and subtract 23.25. And you can complete that.